Okay, so it's finally time to export this into Unity. What are we gonna do? Um, right, let's reset the position of this. We had this only as a preview, but we don't actually need this position here for the export. It needs to be at the center of the world. So I'm gonna delete the constraints. And I'm going to reset these to 0. That's exactly where it needs to be. I am going to reset the transform just to make sure that the pivot is at the center of the world. Okay. And now we're going to go to Space Ape Unity Exporter, and we're finally going to do an export of this. So click Export, and this will export our weapon and our body as well. Let's go into Unity and see what happened. These are importing in the background now. There will be a prompt asking if you want to regenerate prefab. In this case, we're going to say no to all, and this will be just for the troops. So for all the troop prefabs, we're going to generate manually. So we're going to say no to all. And it's going to ask us, do you want to generate a prefab for the attachment model? And we're going to say yes to that. We do want a prefab for the weapon. Okay. There are a few normal maps that we want to fix. So click Fix Now. Okay. So it should be our character should be in Meshes Characters Overlord. So let's check. Overlord, yeah. So we have TRP Overlord, exactly like we named him in the group. As you can see here, TRP Overlord. Let's drag him in the scene. Yes, he looks good. Let's hide Lord 1, just so we can see him in all his glory. I'm going to rotate the light slightly. Yeah. So you can see there's no emissive going on. The normal maps are assigned, but we don't have any glowing things. So in order to get that, we'll need to switch to a custom shader that we've made just for this, just for the Transformers characters in the game. I'm noticing something here though. It says Overlord weapon legs, arms, head, but there's also Overlord one leg attached to something. That does not seem correct. It should only be 4 materials. So let's check what's going on here. So I isolate the body. Also, I notice this is not named correctly either. Overlord 1, it should be legs, plural. And we're going to do select objects with material. So this is using the incorrect material. Alright then. Yeah, you can see that the normal map is actually not affecting it. So we're just going to double click that. And we're going to assign Overlord 0 legs. It should be yes. Okay. That looks correct to me. Let's try this one more time. Select objects with material. Oh, there's still something. But that must be the old mesh. Yes, okay. Let's export one more time and see if that changed anything. Again, we're going to say no. Okay, so it's only 4 materials now, and this is exactly what we want. Cool. Before we go any further, we'll just need to make sure that we're on the correct branch. So if we go on the TRX client repository, this is fork. You might be using source tree, you might be using something else. But before we move on, we need to switch to the correct branch for this particular character. Every new character will be on its own separate branch. So I'm just going to pull master for now. This would refresh all the branches. And the branch for Omega Supreme and Overlord will be Omega Supreme. They both exist on the same branch because they're all both released at the same time. So I'm just going to switch to Omega Supreme for TRX client. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to look for Omega Supreme here on TRX model. But we need to switch both of these. Okay. And I'll go back to Unity and I'll import a few things. Let's switch to the correct shader for him. So each one of these would need its own little shader. And where you find them is usually in TRX characters. And we're going to use lot 0. So because this is the lot 0 that we're assigning. So the materials Overlord 0, all of these named that way, would need that particular material. So we're going to do the same thing for all of these. Actually, what I can do is I can select these. Just convert them in bulk. Okay, so they all switch to that shader. We can delete the leg one, singular. So we only have 4 materials. We need to also assign the emissive map to this, because you can see we switch the shader, but the eyes are still not glowing. If you want to actually test this better, and the actual environment that you can see the characters, you can open, if you look for showroom, there is a scene here called showroom. So we're going to open that. And if you scroll to here, you can drag and drop the FBXs in here. So characters, I'm going to drop Overlord. You can see. You can see a little bit of flickering, and that's because we have lot 1 on there too. So I'm going to disable that, just to see what's going on. Now let's attach the emissive. So that's on the head. We're going to go to where the textures got exported for this guy. So we have the head emissive, and we're going to put that here. You can see everything start glowing. And we are going to do the same with the legs. Let's see if it's going to glow up. Yeah, I think I saw something here. There is one for the weapon though. Legs, head, arms. Oh, that's right, because the weapon is in a different folder. Yeah. I'm gonna go here. That's where the weapon is. That should make the plane glow. It does. Okay. So that's for the lot 0 materials. So let's hide lot 0, unhide lot 1, and do the same for this. Ooh, it actually looks a bit strange. Oh, that's right, because we're using the wrong shader. So for lot 1, we need to assign TRX, characters, lot 1. And even though the Lot 1 material only uses the diffuse for shading. We still need to attach the other maps because we use them in other shaders. So I'm gonna drag this here. Same for the head. Or the emissive. And there is one. Legs. And the weapon. Emissive. Oh. Okay. So if you remember, the arms didn't have any emission, so we just didn't export that. It was pure black. Although it kind of feels like these should be glowing. That's a bit odd. Maybe they're not supposed to glow. Okay, that's side load 1 and side load 0. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, let's save project. And what this does is it just writes these changes to disk. Sometimes they don't even get picked up. If I go to source tree now and TRX client, you'll see we have all these materials and all these textures added. We still need to add the alt mesh to this too though. So I'm gonna open scene. Let's go to the alt mesh. Check if everything is named correctly. Yes, it looks like it is. And I'm going to export that. Oh. Now it looks like we have a lot of different materials. Oh, it's because we didn't rename them. Yeah, so we have all these materials called overload instead of overlord. So both materials in the alt file and the main file, they need to be named exactly the same. So I'm going to delete this. These are definitely not correct. And I am going to go in here in Hypershade and just rename everything. Okay, let's save and export this again. So no new materials popped up, and if we drag this here, all the materials should be assigned correctly to this. Looks like they are, but let's have a closer look. We have the same problem where one of the legs materials is actually assigned incorrectly. Let's check if we have a similar thing going on with Lot 1 too, where the wrong material is, yeah. So we can see the weapon in the head is actually assigned incorrectly. Yes. it should be only Overlord 1 materials on the load 1. The 0 shouldn't be present here. Okay, let's troubleshoot this. So we had Overlord 1 leg. Okay, so the head material. Let's see, we need to hide load 1 is hidden, and if I select, let's clear this, Overlord head. Oh. No, okay, wait. So load 0 needs to be hidden, load 1 needs to be visible. And Overlord head, yes, so this part. These little guys. Need to be Overlord 1 head. Okay. And the other material that was giving us problem is the weapon. So weapon. Overlord 1 weapon. Like the whole reason we're doing this is because each individual material is a draw call, and the more draw calls you have, the more expensive the mesh is to render. So the fewer materials we have per mesh, the better. So we shouldn't really have extra ones when it's not really necessary. So let's save this. Oh, we're noticing now that actually he still has his weapon. Yeah. We need to make sure this weapon is not there. I'm just going to delete it, because we have that as a separate attachment anyway. Make sure this is the 0. And sometimes if we have some history on, it might create issues in Unity. So what we need to do is go to Edit, Delete by Time, and do Non-Deformer History. So that'll get rid of that. And let's just make sure that there are no skinning issues now. Yeah, that looks good. Let's save that. And then using the Space Safe Unity exporter, let's export this again. And go back to Unity. Do you want to generate the weapon again? No. So that's 4 materials, 4 materials, 4, 4, and they're all just 1. They're correct, the correct number. So that's good.